Welcome to M Squared TechCast, a love show offering the latest news and interviews with the people driving business, technology, and politics in Michigan. Now, your hosts, Matt Roush and Mike Brennan.
And we're back with another segment of the M Squared TechCast, now on video.
Indeed, it is. And we have with us, well, actually, we should probably preface that by saying this whole show is devoted to you want to start a cannabis micro business. Well, we've got the experts that can give you some advice on how to do that.
And we just learned from our last guest that Michigan is somewhat unique in terms of its legal approach to cannabis micro businesses, which was kind of interesting to see.
Yes, it's been an eye-opening. I'm learning things that I did not know, so hopefully the audience will as well.
Yep.
And we have with us Kareyna Miller, CPA, president and founder of LC Solutions, and you're out of Flint, right?
Yes, we are.
And with you?
With me is Sarah Jozlin. She's marketing and business development manager of LC Solutions. Welcome to the both of you to the show.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
So we had the HR, we had the PR, we had the JD, the lawyer. I was trying to think of something fast there.
Yeah, right.
And now we have the CPA.
So we've had the full alphabet soup here.
We have, yes.
Okay.
And so I guess that's important because in the end, you got to get all this paperwork processed. You got to do your taxes. You got to deal with whomever, all these various authorities. And you're going to tell us how to do that, right?
Yes, you have to worry about taxes. And in this industry, anybody getting into any type of marijuana business, micro businesses, you have to worry about federal tax laws being different than state tax laws, too. So there's additional accounting and record keeping. You cannot deduct a lot of your business expenses.
Whoa.
So making sure that the expenses that you can deduct are properly recorded and you have all of the receipts and records there. That's our job. That's our favorite thing to go in and do is make sure our business is compliant with their accounting. So if a state regulator or an IRS auditor or anyone wanted to come in and look at those books, they can essentially open them up and everything is there. It's perfect. They don't have anything to worry about.
So what's not deductible and why? What's the rationale?
So the cannabis businesses have to follow Code Section 280E, and what that says is only their cost of their goods sold can be deducted. So cost of goods is the cost that it takes to grow and produce their product. Mm-hmm. So if we talk about a micro business who has a cultivation portion, has a processing portion, then has the retail portion, if we draw lines between each of those, then the cultivation and the processing activities are in general deductible. But once those products are ready, they're ready to be put on the shelf and then sold to the patient or the customer, those selling costs are no longer deductible.
So what we would consider SG&A on a regular financial statement.
Exactly.
Okay.
So no marketing expenses, no bud tender wages, accounting fees, attorney fees, all of those would fall into the SG&A, would not be deductible.
Is that partly because of where marijuana still is in the federal drug schedule?
Yes, that's the only reason for it.
Yeah.
280E has been in existence since 1982, so very outdated laws. But until cannabis is descheduled, that's where we're at.
Okay.
Oh. Well, we were just talking about that in the last segment. Hopefully that'll occur in 2021, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I know Congress just debated it, I think it was last week.
Yeah, it was.
Where, the process is starting. How long it'll take, who knows. But certainly, of course, I'm not sure politicians are really looking at polls these days, but the polls seem to indicate that on a national level, everybody wants this legalized.
It's about 2/3 for at least decriminalization.
Yeah,
I think.
right.
So yeah.
Baby boomers are probably driving it because they're retiring. They want to kick back and light up, right, man?
Well,
move to Traverse City,
they've all got
farm.
Well, that we've all got bad knees, so we want easy access to edibles. Thank you very
that
much.
Too, yeah.
There you go.
All right. So tell us a little bit more now. So we've gone through the different things that need to be done to set up a business. Now we're at the CPA level. So what would be the first steps? I mean, obviously we're going to talk about taxes and all that, how to sort that all out. But how do they get started?
So first steps with any business on the accounting side, you've got to register for business taxes. We can help with that process. From there, we're very focused on your accounting needs as you're in business. So not what you're doing at the end of the year to get ready for taxes, not what you're doing because the government's come in to look at everything. We want to make sure everything is compliant and how it should be all along. So from day one, we help you set up your accounting system on the back end. So if you're using a software like QuickBooks, for example, to track all of your revenues and expenses, we make sure that your chart of accounts is 280 specific. So again, there is no misunderstanding of what should be deducted and what's not. Record keeping is big for us. So I have a team of bookkeepers who are perfectionists. If you send us a transaction and it does not have a receipt behind it, we don't accept that. We're coming back to you and saying we need to have this information. So we're almost like a third party. Your employees aren't going to like us at all, but that's what our job is. That's what we're there to do. And our goal is to make sure ultimately you're the business owner, it's your business. You have to make sure that those things are in place, and that's what we're there to help you. We'll help train your employees. So a lot of times, somebody working in the accounting records or doing these day-to-day things do not have any type of accounting experience at all. So we'll go in there and help them get their processes in place, make sure internal controls are in place. We have a lot of cash movements in this business, so making sure all of that's tracked properly. And then on the back end, again, a part of the rule set is that once a year, your books and records are subject to audit either by the LARA reviewer, so the state government, or a third-party independent CPA. So we make sure that you're very well prepared for that.
So what's the status of banking law when it comes to cannabis businesses? I mean, can you use a bank now? Is it still the way it used to be where no bank would touch the money? Or?
Well, they did touch it, but it was like very quietly on the side.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's still like that. So it's up to the bank itself to develop procedures that allows them to be compliant. I'll say we work with plenty of clients that have banking. Now, whether it's 100% how it would be required, first goes from your location to the Federal Reserve and then to the bank. There's never that direct transfer into a bank account. There's very few and far between banks in Michigan that I know are offering programs like that and doing things 100% by the book. But yes, banking is still probably that's on the federal side. But a bank, there's nothing stopping a bank from doing it other than their own fears and hesitations to make sure that their processes are in place so that they can be compliant on their back end.
Because I know in the early days of all this in other states, they you have tremendous cash on hand, and they didn't have any place to park it. Boy, talk about an incentive for very bad people to come pay you a visit, right?
Right.
So
right, it's still a problem. A lot of existing operators, they're paying all of their taxes in cash. So even that in itself is an issue, because you have to take these sums of money to either the IRS office in Lansing or Detroit or wherever you're going.
The city hall for property taxes. That
exactly,
kind of thing. Yeah.
And it is what it is. I mean, it doesn't, just because you're operating in cash doesn't mean you can't do everything correctly on the back end. I mean, we haven't always had credit cards and checks. There is a way to work compliantly in cash.
So what other pointers would you give for folks that want to get all set up legally and get their books in order and whatnot?
Number one is take it seriously. The biggest problem we run into is, accounting usually gets put on the back burner because people think about just taxes. And, I don't have to worry about it until next April. Well, then you're caught in a position where you weren't doing things correctly, or it's a mess. I mean, we've seen plenty of shoe boxes, I'll say, full of receipts. And it's nice that all those things are there, but my best advice is be proactive and have those procedures in place from day one. Two, tax structuring and tax planning is important. So because we're very limited on deductions, there's some other things that can be done in terms of how to set up your entity for different tax structures. Depending on where businesses are going to be operating and where they're going to be infusing funds into, we may be able to take advantage of opportunity zone funding, where it gives you a little bit of break on taxes there. So there's a lot of different pieces that we can look at, but we need to do that from the start.
I want to ask Sarah a question here about how you go about marketing this business. Who are you, how are you coming up with clients and sort of what's your function there? How is it to market a business like this?
So far, I've just been going to
Now lean in just a little bit more there.
current open dispensaries, things like that, dropping off our information, letting them know they need to be 280E compliant.
Okay.
Yeah, we
And how's that going? Is that working?
Yeah.
Are they surprised that there's a CPA firm out there that specializes in this area?
Yeah, some of them are kind of shocked.
Yeah, it's still very nascent. So,
Yeah.
all right, what else do you do? I mean, do you advertise? Do you get on social media? What sort of tips can you provide?
Yeah, we post on social media. We're active on Facebook. I send out emails, postcards.
Yeah, we do a lot of print mailing. So we get our marketing lists from the reports that the MRA sends out from Weed Maps, Leafly, existing operators. We just did CannaCon a few weeks ago, so we try to do 4 or 5 of the major exhibit type events. We do pretty well, but a lot of it is the in-person, that Sarah's doing and making that physical contact, being in front of somebody.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What else would you tell folks what's the very first thing they should do? Let's start with that.
First thing they should do, I mentioned business taxes, that you've got to set up, make sure that your business is set up. From there, call us. I mean, we have a lot of clients where we're working with them and kind of helping them on the back end, but they're not quite ready to open their doors yet. So we're doing all that pre-work with them. And we understand. We work with all startup businesses, so we get it that you're out there, you're doing this. We can't push too hard on you for what's needed on our end, but that relationship is going to pay off down the road. So don't be afraid to call us, to contact us, and we'll help you with that starting. And then when the point comes where you're starting to accumulate expenses or things are starting to get complicated, then it's time to move into a bookkeeping model or a continuing services model. But we try to be very proactive, and again, we get small business. That's all that we've done prior to this until this commercial licensing. So we're very well poised for the micro business market. So to answer your question, call us and we'll help you through with the rest of it.
Well, that's a great segue because we're down to a little over a minute to go. So you need to tell people how to get a hold of you now.
So you can reach us on our website. It's lcsolutionsmichigan.com, and our contact information, our phone number, our email, everything is on there. Sarah mentioned we're also active on Facebook, so you can reach out to us there, message us or send us a comment through there. We're out there. So if you Google accounting firm marijuana in Michigan, we're one of the first to pop up. So we're able to be found.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks very much, Kareyna Miller and Sarah Jozlin of LC Solutions of Michigan, CPAs out of Flint for the cannabis industry.